Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the Doctor and why he is the 15th worst or best killer in Dead by Daylight. Now there are a couple of things to note about the Doctor, and the biggest and most important one is the fact that he can animation lock. He is one of the few killers in Dead by Daylight. By the push of a button he will be able to change his movement speed as well, but we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. So as you can see, the first thing in the Doctor's ability is switch stance. This will allow the Doctor to change between the static field and shock therapy, also known as punish and treatment. Alright, so treatment is when you're shocking people, and punish is when you have your bat out in your hands. Okay, so while you're within the Doctor's heartbeat, while he has his hand out, you will, after a period of time, to be frank, to be honest, it is 6 seconds. After 6 seconds have passed, you will scream for the first time as a survivor. They have to be in your heartbeat. Doctor's default heartbeat is 32 meters. That also being said, he's a tall killer, moving at 115% movement speed. He comes with 3 teachable perks: overwhelming presence, monitor and abuse, alongside overcharge, all 3 of which are not that great on the Doctor. The only one that could be considered very useful in my opinion would be monitor if you were running double calm add-ons, which makes your heartbeat smaller until you're in chase. You could go overcharge with unnerving presence and distressing as well if that's what you were going for. Anyways, we are not going to be talking about much of that today. What we are going to be talking about is what makes the Doctor one of the worst killers in Dead by Daylight in his current state right now. Well, the thing is, the Doctor can be considered really good under very few and seldom circumstances, right? There are some players that can play a really good Doctor, but you're not going to see too many of them. He's one of the least picked killers in Dead by Daylight. A lot of rookies, killer mains start playing Doctor because they hear he can get you the most amount of blood points, even though I personally believe the Wraith can with, a stealth ambush hit alongside chase, brutality and hooking. So Wraith does get a lot alongside does Legion as well. But anyways, having a look right now at the Doctor. When the Doctor M1s you, he has the same recovery speed as all killers in the game. There is nothing that will change that apart from save the best for last or missing with unrelenting. This also being said, something to keep in mind with the Doctor is while he is mid-changing stances. So while he has the weapon out in his hands, that is called punish mode. While he has punish out, he moves at 115. While he just has his hand out, this is called treatment mode. While he is changing stances to the opposite stance until the action has been completed, he will be moving at the previous stance's movement speed. For example, if I have my hand out and then I'm going to treatment, it takes about 2 seconds to do, 1.5 seconds to do, okay? During that 1.5 seconds, I'm moving at 110% movement speed. When the bat's out, while I'm changing to the hand, I'm moving at 115. So until you hear that snappy sound, you are going to be moving at the previous movement speed. Now, the Doctor can be considered really good for a few things. Now, the Doc is one of the only, in fact, the Doctor is the only killer in the game who can do something called animation lock on a survivor. Now, what is animation lock? If the Doc is successful in shocking you, there will be a red debuff that appears in your bottom right hand corner as a survivor. The red debuff will go around, and the time that goes up, it's much like the Thanophobia debuff, except it does go away, right? There'll be a little bit of think of a clock going all the way around. That takes 2.5 seconds to stop. Now, animation lock means you're not going to be able to do anything. You scream and you grab your head. If you're running Calm Spirits, you will not scream, but you will still do the animation, and you will still be animation locked. You're not going to be able to vault a window. You're not going to be able to pull down a pallet. You're not going to be able to hook save. You're not going to be able to self-care. You're not going to be able to savo. You're not going to be able to do a lot of different things. You're not going to be able to get in a locker. However, if he goes to shock you and you fast fall in a locker to dodge the shock to fast fall out, that is a mistake. If he shocks you as you fast fall into a locker, you are locked in that locker for 2.5 seconds and he can pull you out straight away. I've seen a lot of people make that rookie mistake, but it's only one mistake you're going to make once. Now, the thing about the Doctor is at a basic jungle gym where the killer cannot be seen by a survivor, he can always hide his light. He doesn't need to go around and shock, etc. There's a few ways to play Doctor, right? I do have a set build on the screen, which I'll be going into details about a bit, but because a lot of people don't play this killer, I want to kind of explain a couple of things to you. Hiding your light as a Doctor and spinning your camera to an M1, that can be work. It can work as him, don't get me wrong, but realistically, shocking is the more powerful benefit that you can get. There are 3 tiers of shock, or 3 tiers of madness a survivor can have. Madness 1, Madness 2, and Madness 3. Madness 1, without any add-ons, basically survivor screams, and when they're working on a generator, a skill check will appear in a random spot in the screen, not just in the center. Madness 2, after they've been shocked or in your terror radius for a period of time while you're in treatment mode. It'll allow basically illusions to appear throughout the entire map, allowing you to know where a survivor is based on the fact that your doctor's illusion is going to be looking at a 45-degree angle of a survivor. It generally spawns pretty close to them too, within 8 meters. So you can kind of tell if they're in a locker, if they chose to stay in a locker. It's to help you find the immersed players. And it can also depend on your add-ons. If you're running add-ons, you can have fake pallets, etc., etc. What is a fake pallet? Basically a pallet that looks real. A survivor runs up to it, they hear a laugh, and the pallet disappears, much like Freddy's fake blood pallet, except it's not interactable. But the killer does know which pallets are fake, as they glow a different color for the killer, but they won't for the survivors. And Madness 3. Madness 3, depending on your add-ons, if you have any add-ons, you can have exhaustion effect, you can have quite a few different things. Basically, Madness 3 is you cannot do anything bar open the exit. No, you can't even open the exit gate anymore. You cannot do anything bar snap out of it or a hook save. So you can hook save a teammate, snap out of it. You need to look at the ground and grab your head and give yourself a good old massage, and while you're doing that you have to land skill checks, and if you miss a skill check you will scream, notifying the doctor of your location. Once you finish doing that, you're going to be able to go back to tier 2. You can never leave tier 2. In tier 2 you're going to have to go do the jennies and survive the rest of the trial. Keep in mind, tier 2 and tier 1 gets the benefits of the previous tier, much like tier 3 gets the benefits of tier 1 and tier 2. So no matter what tier you're in, you will get the benefits of, well, the negative effects of the lower tier, but the doctor will obviously get the benefits of that too. None of his tier ups enhance his ability, apart from the fact that, you know, certain add-ons will give exhaustion effect, etc. So if we have a look at something called the Iridescent King here, this looks like a very complicated add-on to the untrained eye, or people that don't understand the doctor, and you're correct, it does do a lot of things. So basically, every time a survivor receives shock therapy, they gain a random effect from below. So one could be broken pallets appear as their real pallets, so fake pallets. The second one is tremendously increase the duration of the doctor's illusion, so you're standing there looking at him for a longer period of time, you're illusionist. Survivors hear a constant distant heartbeat. There's also one that makes the heartbeat sound like it's right up on you too. You've got things like survivors are exhausted, so they can't use dead hard, balanced landing, etc. When a survivor enters chase, the terror radius will appear as if the doctor's right behind them for a duration of 10 seconds. This effect is always active for survivors in Madness 3. So the red stain's right behind them, so they might be paranoid looking over their shoulder and you can cut them off, etc. It's not as good as it sounds, but you can make it work. And before I was talking about calm add-ons as well, so we're going to notably mention those too. Calm add-ons are... Hello, calm. There we go. So this basically considerably reduces your terror radius. Then you have another one that considerably or moderately reduces your terror radius. Yes, they stack on top of each other with modern abuse to give you a very small heartbeat, allowing you to run around and M1 people and scare them rather than, you know, having to chase them and shock them. Because keep in mind, this will also moderately increase your terror radius while in punish mode. Okay, so guys, if we're looking at a couple of things... Moderately increase your terror radius while in treatment mode. I thought I said that the wrong way around. So, all in all with the doctor, to catch people at jungle gyms, you need to know when to shock and when not to shock. If a doctor is good with his shock, he can shock because it will come out in about a tighter than 45-degree angle in front of him. I'd say it's about a 35-degree angle in front of you, right? It comes out in a big cone coming out of your body, so basically the further away... No, it doesn't come out in a cone, it comes out in a tube. So it goes out in front of you. That being said, if a survivor is shocked, they're not going to be able to pull the pallet down, etc., etc. So when you're running a jungle gym behind a survivor, you need to be running at 115% movement speed in punish. And then when you're getting close to the pallet, you change to treatment. You shock at the survivor, change back into punish. And then chase a survivor, right? At a really easy jungle gym, you're going to be able to shock once and M1 a survivor. At a more hard, complicated jungle gym, you're going to have to change, shock, change for the distance, change back to shock, change for the distance, change back for the shock to lunge M1 through a pallet. So it gets really complicated to do, and a lot of people, I realize, don't meet that level of patience when it comes to the doctor. He is lacklustering when it comes to instant injures the killer. He can be very difficult to play under the right circumstances, but at the same time, that's why we have perks to make up where we lackluster. Speaking of perks, guys, you're going to see a pretty average build when it comes down to what I choose to run and why I choose to run it, and we're going to get into details about that. This being said, when the doctor does do a shock, it'll pretty much come out 5 meters in front of him, and it takes about 2 seconds to activate with 2.5 seconds animation lock. There are a variety of add-ons here that completely changes the power a lot. You have Inflict More Madness. There is a very powerful wombo combo in here too that can very devastatingly hurt people. So the interview shape says basically attacks change from the cone bit. Okay, so basically instead of being a cone in front of you, or the tube that I said before, it'll become a ring around you, okay? So it sounds really silly and it sounds really dumb, but you have to hit a survivor in the ring. That being said, you're right, it's not that great. But if you take something like this, which is increase your shock therapy range, the ring still becomes the tube again. And now you have this massively long tube that you can hit multiple targets with, so it can be really disgusting. I personally don't recommend any add-ons on Doc. I don't think he needs them. That being said, he is very weak, don't get me wrong. I put him in the 15th worst killer spot in Dead by Daylight. But becoming accustomed to add-ons is going to change your playstyle. If you're running like a super long beam Doctor, and you're running Thrill of the Hunt with Devour Hope, and you're shocking across the map to stop people from breaking your totem, then you can be a pain in the ass. But that being said, it's not the kind of build I go for my Doc. I go for outplaying, out mind gaming a survivor. So here we've got Ruin. Basically, it takes 80 seconds to do a generator. If they miss a great and land a good, 5% penalty. If they're at 79 seconds, 5% penalty of 80 is 4. Therefore, the generator will go back 4 seconds, and all productivity will be sealed on a generator for 1 to 1.5 seconds if there's multiple people working on it. If they land a great, there is no benefit from landing a great. There's just no negative. Ruin being one of the stronger perks in Dead by Daylight. At the same time, it lacklusters due to the fact it is a randomly generated kind of perk. It appears on a totem. If the totem is cleansed by a survivor, you lose the perk for the rest of the trial. Can make it very difficult if you have no other regression perks in your build. My next one is Pop Goes the Weasel. Pop Goes the Weasel is very powerful. As you guys know, it's a staple in all of my builds bar one on the Hag. This being said, it allows me to kick a generator, get massive regression off at 25% penalty, and then it's going to regress 1.5% every second after that. So it can be really, really good at getting the generators going back. So we've got this and this. In case this breaks in the first 10 seconds, I have this for reliability. If this does not break and I still have this, that's going to be devastating for generator stall throughout the trial if survivors choose to group. If all 4 of them split up, which is what they should be doing, I should be chasing 1. As long as I don't overcommit to a chase or a tunnel, I hit him once, then I would rotate personally. But that being said, a lot of people will commit to a tunnel and lose a game from that. You got to keep in mind, if there's 3 healthy people, what do you think they're doing while you're chasing this teammate, which isn't healthy? Thrilling Tremor is going to give me the situational awareness as well, provided from Barbecue and Chili, yet on top of that, it's also going to give me the information knowing of what generators people are being worked on. You can avoid Barbecue and Chili by hiding in a locker. You can avoid Thrilling Tremor to a degree by not working on a generator when you know a teammate's going to get picked up. That being said, no work will happen on that Jenny for 16 seconds, which is a long time, and I probably wouldn't come over with Pop Goes the Weasel. So if a Jenny was nearly done and I knew the killer had Thrilling Tremor, I would stay on it and pop it. If the Jenny was about 55% and I knew the killer had Thrilling Tremor, I would let go of the generator, let the killer do the hook, maybe break a totem, maybe come in for the save, then come back for the generator. I wouldn't stay on it because I don't want him coming across the map kicking it with Pop Goes the Weasel. So keep these kind of things in mind. It's going to give you very, very good information as well as stall and regression. So currently we've got stall, we've got regression, stall and regression. Well, it's more of a stall, if we're going to be honest. And now we have a clutch. Alright, so this is our clutch perk. It's called Save the Best for Last. Every time you hit a survivor who is not your obsession, you gain 5% faster recovery time on a successful hit, up to a total of 8 stacks. 8, we're looking at 40% of recovery speed. If you M1 a survivor, it'll take him about 30 seconds if he's running in a straight line before you can catch up and M1 him again. However, if you have Save the Best for Last and you M1 him, you're going to get it in about... about 16, 17 seconds, you're going to be able to run out after him in a straight line and him again. 9 out of 10 times when you hit a survivor, he's like, A, going to throw a pallet, B, he's going to run and sprint burst into a wall or something, C, he's not going to run in a straight line, he's going to run around a corner or something and take a tighter, and you're going to be able to recover really quick. What makes Save the Best for Last not one of the best perks in the game? Well, first of all, you need 8 stacks. Every time you hit at your obsession, you lose 2 stacks. However, if you have something like Enduring and you lunge hit through somebody through a pallet and they pallet stun you, you're recovering from Enduring, not recovering from Save the Best for Last. So keep that kind of thing in mind. If you get pallet stun and you don't hit anybody, you're not recovering from Save the Best for Last, you're recovering from Enduring. So do you see where value comes out of running Enduring over Save the Best for Last? However, if they're coming into hook save and I shock you with animation lock for 2.5 seconds, then I M1 you, by the time you can recover and grab that guy, I can M1 you twice as long as I have more than 5 stacks to Save the Best for Last. So keep that kind of thing in mind. Anything less, they will get the hook save / trade off. That being said, you should shouldn't be waiting under the hook for these circumstances. Some honorable mentions to point out about the Doctor. I used to run a bit of a similar build on my doc. Now, a lot of you guys might go, this is a bit of a weird build, and you're correct, it is. Now, there's a couple of things that need to be pointed out. I do run Whispers on this. This is the build that I lean towards if I'm not going to be shocking as much. Now, that last build, don't get me wrong, I don't go around shocking everywhere, but this here is an absolute devastating build, okay? So, Thrilling Tremor is the last perk I do choose to put on, or Sloppy Butcher. I don't like running Sloppy Butcher because it, interferes with Make Your Choice at the same time, but we'll put this on. Now, a lot of people would be wondering, why do you run Whispers and Make Your Choice on a Doctor when you can use your ability to see where survivors are in 6 seconds? Well, it's for that exact reason that I do it. If you hook save, and for whatever reason I'm coming back to the hook, I'm going to change stance. Now, if somebody screams, I'm going to know who screams, and I'm going to be able to down them or chase them, and they're going to go down in 1 hit rather than 2. If they do not scream in 6 seconds, I'd probably give it a bit of leeway. I'd say 8 seconds. If they do not scream in 8 seconds after I hook saved you, I'm going to be able to guess what locker they're in, and I'm going to be able to pull them out of a locker due to the fact that I'm going to have Whispers as well. I'm going to know they're still around. I'm going to know you're still around. So these things can really come into play really, really efficient and effectively. Whispers can be traded out. There are quite a few bad maps for Whispers, but that's kind of where this excels. Being said, a perk that not many people run on the Doctor that's very, very good is I'm All Ears. Keep in mind, if somebody fast folds something, you can see their aura or their location for 6 seconds. So that's enough time to change stance, run around a normal jungle gym, see him through the wall to shock towards the pallet to stop him. If he stutters, then you're going to M1 through him. If he takes a left turn, you're going to be M1 through him. If he runs through, he's animation locked. If he dead hards over it, well, he's out of dead hard and you got a free pallet. So I think I'm All Ears is actually a pretty freaking good perk on Doctor as well that not many people are running these days. You've got Discordance for mass situational awareness to know where you need to regress with Pop Goes the Weasel, but at the same time, look at this build. There's no pop, there's no stability right now. If Ruin goes, I need to rely on probably slugging to be able to win the game, and that's not really what I want to go into a match hoping and relying on. Keep in mind, knockout is going to stop your survivors from seeing each other, but if a survivor is in Madness 3 lying in dying state, they'll periodically scream. Periodically screaming means the survivor's going to know where their teammate is, even if the bubble doesn't appear. So basically, whenever you're shocked by a Doctor, a little scream bubble will appear above your head, much like the indicator that Infectious Fright gives. It's going to give you an information of where somebody is. I didn't mention this about Doctor, but if you go into a locker, you can hide from his ability and you cannot scream. So pulling people out of lockers is more common on somebody like the Doctor. This being said, I don't think there's too much more to discuss when it comes to this killer. He's one of the weaker ones, but if you get a decent map, you can make him work. I mean, I personally don't think he's incredible, but you want to know something, I can still play him, I would say, above average from understanding when to twist your camera, when to hide your light, when to go for the shock, when to not even go into tier 1, when you don't want survivors to be Madness tier 1, because I might have Jeff on the hook, Jeff on the ground, and then looking for David. If you are in dying state, you cannot Madness up. So if I change to tier 1 and I shock, you cannot shock somebody in the dying state, but they get passive screaming if you're in just treatment mode. Yes, if I'm standing here AFK with my hand, the guy on the ground who hasn't even hit Madness 1 will periodically scream. It won't be every 7 seconds. There is a bit of a delay between it, but he's not going to Madness up for whatever reason. So keep that in mind. Going in a locker will reduce your Madness if you're not even in Madness 1, but in Madness 2, it cannot ever regress below Madness. So you can never tear down unless you're Madness 3. Madness 3, you need to do an action to break out of it to put you back to Madness 2. And after a period of time, you'll go to Madness 3 if you're within his terror radius while he's currently using treatment mode. Okay guys, I'm pretty sure that sums up everything for Doctor. Now guys, if you want to learn more about Doctor, I don't play a lot of him, but just let me know and I'll be trying to do more Doctor games, get some more educational, informative content up there to show you guys the mind games, the hiding your light, the twisting your cameras. One more thing to point out, Doctor is one of the only killers that can hit you at the God Palette at the shack. Yep, if he has bamboozled and you've already pulled the God down and he shocks you while you're on the wrong side, he can bamboozle the window, walk through and M1 you before the 2.5 seconds is up and you can vault the window. So keep that in mind. Also, a smart survivor will, once he vaults the window or before he vaults the window, fast vault the shack pallet, run all the way around the shack and then vault the shack pallet again. That's personally the smartest option you could do. Or walk up to the window so it's harder for him to get the angle for the shock, and if he does land the shock, you're going to take the hit, etc. So bamboozle can work. A lot of people run brutal, so when you're going for the shock, if a survivor pulls a pallet down, you can just brutal and then move on or follow them, depending on what you prefer. Alrighty guys, that's going to be all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, like I said, don't hesitate to come over to the live stream and check out anything you guys want to know about the Doctor or any other killers in DBD. And this is why I put Doctor as the 15th best killer in Dead by Daylight. Thanks for watching.